If you're trying to make sense of the real estate market right now, believe me, you are not alone. It feels like we're getting hit with a barrage of conflicting signals every single day, right? You've got economic uncertainty, inflation that just won't quit, and expert forecasts that seem to point in completely different directions. It is confusing. But today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We are going to break down what the leading analysts are actually predicting for 2026 and 2027 and give you the clarity you need to navigate what's coming next. So here's our roadmap. We'll start with the big picture, the 2026 economic backdrop. Then we'll dive into the conflicting US market forecasts. This is where it gets interesting. We'll also get a global perspective from Australia, explore the game changing impact of AI on valuations, and then we'll pull it all together into some actionable strategies for you. Okay, let's dive right in. Look, before we can even begin to talk about housing prices or sales, we have to understand the economy that the housing market lives in. Everything from GDP growth to jobs to inflation, it all sets the stage for how real estate is going to perform. And the big headline number to keep in your head is this: 2.2%. That is the consensus forecast for US GDP growth in 2026. Now, on its own, that number seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? But it's really the end result of a pretty wild ride of policy shifts and some surprisingly tough consumer behavior. So, let's break down how we even got here. This chart does a great job of showing the economic turbulence we saw back in 2025. Just take a second and focus on that first quarter. You see that big negative gray bar? That's net exports. So what happened there? Well, businesses rushed to get a whole bunch of imports in before some newly proposed tariffs kicked in, and that move created a temporary but pretty significant drag on GDP. But then, look at the rebound. The driving force is crystal clear. It's that dark blue bar, personal consumption. Even with all the headwinds, you, the consumer, held strong. And that resilience is the absolute bedrock of that 2.2% growth forecast for 2026. All right, let's shift over to the job market. The main theme here is really just normalization. We're seeing job growth projected to slow down to a more modest 0.7% in 2026. Now, that number might sound a little low, but the real context here is the unemployment rate. At 4.6%, it's sitting right at its 10-year historical average. So this isn't really a sign of weakness, it's more of a sign that the market is just getting back to a more sustainable pre-pandemic rhythm. And a key trend within all this is the Sun Belt, which just keeps outperforming with job growth there staying stronger at a full 1.0%. And now, let's talk about the one thing that's impacting everyone's wallet: inflation. The data is showing it's staying annoyingly persistent at 2.7%. Now, while shelter costs have started to cool off a bit, other things, like tariffs, have put upward pressure on the price of goods. So here's the bottom line. As long as inflation stays well above the Federal Reserve's 2% target, their hands are basically tied. The market is now betting there's a high probability of only a single interest rate cut in all of 2026. And that means higher borrowing costs are probably here to stay for a while, which is a major headwind for the housing market. So we've got an economy with steady growth, a job market that's normalizing, and stubborn inflation keeping interest rates high. Now let's see how the big housing institutions are reading these tea leaves. And this is where the story gets really interesting, because they are all looking at the exact same data, but they're coming to very different conclusions about what happens next. So do the experts agree? The short answer is no, not at all. While they see eye to eye on some things, the two titans of housing finance, Fannie Mae and the Mortgage Bankers Association, or MBA, they have a fundamental disagreement about where this market is headed, especially when we look out to 2027. And this split in their forecasts is the central puzzle we really need to figure out. Okay, let's put their numbers right up next to each other. For 2026, you can see they're pretty close on purchase volume. But now, look closely at that 2027 row. Fannie Mae is forecasting a massive $1.63 trillion in volume. The MBA, on the other hand, sees the market staying pretty much flat at $1.5 trillion. That's a $130 billion difference. That's a fundamentally different outlook on the world. And a big reason for this split comes down to mortgage rates. See how Fannie Mae expects rates to finally dip below 6% in 2027? The MBA thinks they're going to hold firm at a much higher 6.4%. So, why the big split? It really all comes down to their underlying assumptions. Fannie Mae seems to believe that strong jobs and wage growth will eventually let buyers power through the affordability challenges. They're predicting back-to-back years of strong 7% growth in home sales. The MBA's economists, though, are way more cautious. They seem to believe that these high rates are just going to keep too many potential buyers stuck on the sidelines. They see the momentum hitting a brick wall with sales growth getting cut in half to just 3.4% in 2027. So the big question is, who's right? But amidst all this disagreement on how many homes will sell, there is one area where they all agree: home prices. After years and years of frankly explosive growth, yeah, the party's over. The expectation across the board is that we are entering a long period of cooling price gains. The days of double digit annual increases are definitely behind us. Instead, most forecasts are pointing to national home price growth slowing to just over 1%, and some of those really overheated markets might even see some modest declines. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel grow, and check out the links in the description. If you're thinking about buying or selling, I can connect you with a top agent in your area, or if you need life insurance, my team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. Sometimes to get a better handle on our own market, it really helps to look abroad. So let's shift our focus to the other side of the planet. The Australian real estate market offers a fascinating case study. It's faced similar pressures from high interest rates, yet its path has been remarkably different. And the reason why holds a really important lesson for all of us about market fundamentals. While a lot of people expected a cool down, the Australian market actually got a lot stronger through 2025. And the driving force wasn't some sudden economic boom or falling interest rates. No, it was a simple, powerful, structural problem: a persistent and severe shortage of housing supply. When you have way more people needing homes than homes available, it creates this powerful floor under prices, which is exactly what we saw happen down under. And the results of that supply and demand imbalance are just staggering. I mean, look at these forecasts for 2026. The national average for house price growth is expected to be a very strong 7.7%. But in hot markets like Brisbane, they're forecasting nearly 11% growth, and in Perth, a truly incredible 12.8%. These are numbers we haven't seen in the US for years, and it's all happening in a high interest rate environment. This table just shows that the trend is broadly positive across pretty much all of Australia's major cities. It's a really powerful reminder that a local fundamental, like the balance of supply and demand, can often be more powerful than broader macroeconomic trends like interest rates. And that lesson is the perfect bridge to our next topic. So, we've seen how a market fundamental like supply can shape an entire country's housing market. Now let's turn to a different kind of fundamental shift, not in economics, but in technology. It's something that's quietly revolutionizing how we even figure out a property's value in the first place. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. It's not just a buzzword anymore. It is actively changing how property valuation gets done. For decades, valuing a property was really more of an art than a science, right? It relied on an appraiser's local knowledge and looking at a handful of recent comparable sales. That approach can be really subjective, and it leads to inconsistencies. Well, the AI-enhanced approach is a total paradigm shift. It doesn't just look at three comps down the street. It analyzes millions of data points, property features, historical price trends, neighborhood data, economic indicators, to produce a valuation with far greater accuracy, speed, and objectivity. So, if you're a buyer, what does this actually mean for you? It means tackling the most stressful parts of buying a home. An AI-backed valuation really reduces the uncertainty around what you should offer, and more importantly, it minimizes the risk of that dreaded appraisal gap. Where the lender's valuation comes in lower than your purchase price and you have to scramble for cash or risk the whole deal collapsing. It just gives you confidence that you are paying what the property is truly worth based on data, not just an opinion. And for sellers, the benefits are just as powerful. AI lets you have a data-driven pricing strategy from day one, and that helps you avoid the two cardinal sins of selling. First, overpricing your home, which causes it to just sit on the market and get the stigma of price reductions. And second, underpricing your home and leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. It's all about pricing with confidence, not just guesswork. All right. We've covered the economy, the conflicting forecasts, the global context, and the big shifts in technology. Now let's bring it all home. How do we actually use this information to build a smart, actionable strategy for buying or investing in this 2026 market? Well, the research points to four key strategic pillars for 2026. First, with price appreciation slowing down, income from rent becomes absolutely critical. So focus on markets with higher rental yields. Second, target areas with high occupancy rates. That signals strong, consistent demand. Third, and this is the big lesson from Australia, prioritize markets with below average new construction, which creates that favorable supply and demand dynamic. And fourth, follow the jobs, specifically markets with stable and outperforming employment growth. So here it is, the most crucial point of all. The investment mindset has to shift. For the past decade, a lot of investors could just ride a wave of market appreciation to get returns. But in a market with limited rate cuts and cooling price gains, that era is over. Future returns are going to be driven by fundamentals, strong rental income, and smart, efficient property management. This is a market that's going to reward disciplined, data-driven investors, not speculators. And the analysis points to several US cities where all these strategic themes are coming together. These are markets that tend to combine high occupancy rates, not a lot of new construction, and really robust, stable job growth. Cities like Charlotte, Phoenix, Atlanta, Raleigh, Nashville, Tampa, and Dallas are consistently flagged as having the strong fundamentals you need to outperform in this new market environment. So we'll end with a question for you to think about. In a market that's defined by conflicting signals and transformative new technologies, it is so easy to get distracted. But all the data suggests that success is going to come from tuning out that noise and focusing intently on the timeless fundamentals of real estate, job growth, rental income, and that critical balance of supply and demand. So, is your strategy built on that solid foundation? If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel grow. And check out the links in the description. If you're thinking about buying or selling, I can connect you with the top agent in your area. Or if you need life insurance, my team and I can help you anywhere nationwide.